Hi, and welcome to Lamplighter Kids Stories. My name is Rebecca, and this is my squirrel friend Momo.
Hello, kids!
We have an exciting story for you today. In each of our stories, we are going to learn about one virtue. A virtue is anything that is good and right and true. Virtues are like little lights that shine bright and beautiful in a story.
Can I tell them about Letters from Momo?
Go ahead.
If you'd like to learn more about my fun forest adventures, you can check out my Letters from Momo digital bundles on our website, lamplighterkids.com. In each Letter from Momo bundle, you'll find fun stories, short biographies, and great activity pages. I may talk a little bit about acorns in there as well.
If you'd like to order a Letters from Momo digital bundle, just ask your adult to visit lamplighterkids.com. You can also find Lamplighter Kids merchandise and our first Seeds of Character book there called Jerome's Journey. So, are you ready? Come and listen while we light the way to your imagination.
Hello! And wow, it has been a long time since we were last able to come and share a story with you all. Momo and I have missed you very much. Although, Momo went to his kitchen a couple minutes ago and he hasn't been back since. He said he had a little surprise for me. I'm really excited to see what it is. Oh, hi Momo! There you are! And is that tea that you're holding?
Yes, it is! This is my surprise for you.
Oh, I do love tea, Momo, as you know. That was very sweet of you.
Oh, this isn't just any tea. This is premium acorn tea made from the acorns in our very own forest. There was a big sale going on at Dakota's convenience store. They had all their acorn tea on a final sale there for almost nothing. So I bought 500 boxes of it. Acorn tea forever.
500? Wow, that's a lot of tea, Momo. Are you sure you need that much? Also, where in the world are you going to store 500 boxes of tea?
Of course I need that much acorn tea and, well, they're in my kitchen. I couldn't find anywhere else to put them.
Your kitchen? Momo, your kitchen isn't that big.
I know, and now it's even smaller. A lot smaller. In fact, I only have one pathway that leads right to my sink, so I can get the water I need to make the tea. Other than that, there's no space left in my kitchen. My counters, my floors, my tables, they all have tea boxes on them. But that's okay because acorn tea is so delicious.
Oh, wow, Momo,
Try it! You'll see once you try it that it was worth every box.
Okay, I'll try. Oh, wow. Momo, have you tried this yet?
Not yet. This is acorn tea. This is disgusting.
I have to agree with you. Let me see what that box says. It says premium dirt tea. Momo, you didn't buy 500 boxes of acorn tea. You bought 500 boxes of dirt tea. Only the moles drink dirt tea. You should definitely return all of them.
I can't. It was final sale. They won't take it back now. What am I going to do? I have 500 boxes of dirt tea in my kitchen.
Well, now, don't worry. We'll think of something to do with all this tea. In the meantime, do you mind getting me a cup of water? I need to wash this flavor out of my mouth.
Sure thing. At least I can still reach my sink.
Thanks, Momo. While we wait to decide what to do with all this tea, I'll go ahead and share our story with you all. At least it'll take my mind off this gross taste in my mouth for a while. Our story today begins on a hiking trail. Mrs. Karlsson crunched her way over the mosaic of red, orange, and yellow leaves that lined the ground of their hiking trail on the way back towards home. She looked up between the almost bare branches of the trees at the white sky above. It certainly looked like they might be getting their first snow of the season tonight. She zipped up her puffy jacket to her chin as the frigid wind whirled around her, smiling at the thought of their warm home waiting for them down below. She was more than ready to sit in front of the fire with a large cup of coffee when they got back. She loved their traditions of after-school Friday hikes, but nothing beat the warmth of coming home.
I think it's going to snow tonight,
a boy's voice said next to her, following his mother's gaze up to the low clouds.
Me too. The sky looks like it just wants to sneeze out snowflakes,
said a girl's voice on her other side. Mrs. Karlsson looked down at her twin children and smiled at the way they skipped along the trail. It certainly looks like it, she agreed.
I'm so excited. I love waking up to snow,
said the little girl.
Hey, Lars, if there's enough snow, we should have an epic snowball fight in the backyard.
Lars laughed. As long as you don't mind me winning again, he teased.
Livy, 0 points. Lars, 1,000.
Livy rolled her eyes and picked up a handful of dead leaves to throw playfully at her brother. Even if there's enough snow, I don't think you guys will have enough time to have a snowball fight. You have your big school project due next week, and I seem to remember that you guys mentioned you haven't even started it yet. And unfortunately, I can't help you much this weekend since I have a lot of work orders to fulfill. Your father won't be back for a couple days from his business trip, so he's not able to help me out. But I have faith in you guys. If you really get stumped, I can help, but since you told me it wasn't a hard project, I'll let you try to figure it out on your own first. Lars looked at Livy and they frowned together. This school project had been harder than expected. At first, they thought it'd be super easy since their teacher had assigned them to work on the project together as a 2-person group. They expected that their super in-sync twin brains could finish the project fast. After all, it was an easy project. All they had to do was make an illustrated book together. But as it turns out, they were both out of good ideas for stories. Every time they came up with a story, there was some problem with it. Now they only had a couple more days to finish, and Lars was starting to get nervous. Before he had time to contemplate the consequences of an unfinished school project, though, his sister cried out.
Oh, look! Look there! There's a kitten on the trail! He's coming towards us! Oh, he's so cute!
Mrs. Karlsson stopped and looked behind her, as did Lars. Sure enough, there on the trail behind them was a fluffy little orange kitten. That's strange, remarked Mrs. Karlsson. There aren't any houses this far out on the trail. I wonder where this little guy came from. As the kitten approached closer, Livy bent down and reached out her hand.
Come here, little guy. We're not scary.
The little kitten came straight up to her hand, sniffed it once, then rubbed its body along her hand as if to say hello. Livy looked up at her mom, her eyes full of pleading. Before you say anything, the answer is no. I'm sure this little guy has a home anyways. He's probably just on his way back there now. She hesitated a little as she said this, but quickly collected herself. All right, come on now. Let's finish our hike and get home before it starts getting dark. Say goodbye to our little hiking buddy. With a sad goodbye from the twins, the 3 of them turned and began their final stretch down the hiking trail and into town. But it wasn't just the 3 of them anymore. To the delight of the twins, the little orange kitten continued to follow closely behind. Mrs. Karlsson rolled her eyes when her kids pointed it out, but she was sure that he was just heading the same direction into town because that must be where his family lived. Finally, the trail led to one of the back streets in town, where the Karlsson family turned right and began following the familiar streets towards home. The orange kitten continued to follow them happily, despite Mrs. Karlsson's insistence that he would probably stop at someone's house along the way where he belonged. Livy, delighted at the sight of the kitten close behind, leaned over and whispered to Lars, "What if he follows us all the way home? Do you think Mama will let us keep him?" Lars shrugged his shoulders. His mother and father had always said no whenever they had asked for a pet, so he couldn't imagine them changing their minds. They rounded a corner and saw their house in the distance, nestled at the end of their cozy cul-de-sac. Mrs. Karlsson stood on the front doorsteps of their home, watching her twins gently pet the little orange ball of fluff at their feet. "Why did you follow us all the way here, huh?" said Livy, scratching under the kitten's chin. "Do you need a new home? Oh yes, do you?" "Where's your family, little guy?" cooed Lars, looking around at the other houses in his cul-de-sac, as if a family might appear right then and there. Mrs. Karlsson scratched her chin, looking worriedly up at the sky. Somewhere behind the thick veil of clouds, the sun had already set, and it was beginning to grow dark. She could smell in the crisp air that snow was almost certainly going to fall tonight. Mrs. Karlsson sighed. All right, she said. "It's definitely too cold for him to be out here on his own tonight, so—" Lars and Livy smiled up at their mom excitedly. "You mean," said Lars, "Kitty can come inside with us tonight?" Their mother nodded reluctantly, laughing at her kids' happy shouts. "But only for tonight. I'm sure with a few phone calls I can find his real family tomorrow." She opened the door. When the kitten felt the warmth coming from inside the house, he didn't waste a minute. He turned and trotted right inside. "Look, he's acting like he's lived here forever," Livy laughed, following close behind the kitten. As the night grew dark outside, two happy children spent a good hour setting up towel beds around the house for their fuzzy guest. As their mother made her coffee, started the fire, and began cooking dinner, Livy and Lars ran around pulling a string of yarn behind them and laughing as the kitten ran after it with enthusiasm. After a while, the kitten jumped up on their couch and found a little nest of towels that the kids had placed there for a cat bed. With a few moments of purring and kneading, he curled up inside and fell asleep, warm and happy. "He's so cute! Let's name him Buttons," Livy whispered, sitting next to him on the couch. "We can't name him anything, Liv. Remember, Mama said we can't keep him. She's going to find his real family tomorrow." Livy pouted at this. "Plus, we need to work on our project now," Lars declared. "The kitten's asleep, and we need to at least start it before bedtime. Come on, let's try to think of a good story." The kids reluctantly took out their blank notepads and began brainstorming. Outside their window, small specks of snow began gently falling from the black sky. Snow! Livy ran down the stairs early the next morning, looking beyond their large windows onto a scene of pure white. Mrs. Karlsson and Lars were already awake, sitting on the couch together. Livy looked at her mom's lap and smiled. "Ooh, it looks like someone likes you, Mama." Mrs. Karlsson rolled her eyes and looked down at the orange kitten who had settled comfortably into her lap. "He better not get used to it. This is his only day with us. I'm glad, though, that we took him in. I don't know how he would have survived the night with that much snow." After breakfast, Lars and Livy took turns holding and playing with their fuzzy guest. Livy had still not given up trying to name him. "What about Sherbert? Harold?" "No, actually, I think he looks like a butterscotch." Lars kept reminding his sister that they couldn't name him. Their mom would never let them keep him. But Secretly, he was thinking of his own names for the kitten, too. So far, his favorite was Tiger. Okay, you two, I've got to get some work done upstairs, including making some calls about this little kitten, Mrs. Karlsson announced. When I come out of my office, I'm hoping to see a lot of progress on your school project, okay? They nodded and grabbed their notebooks as their mom walked upstairs and into her office. Livy and Lars laid on the couch, notepads and pencils in hand, watching the kitten play with a piece of lint on the floor. So, any ideas for a story yet? Lars said. I can't believe we couldn't think of anything at all last night. He looked down at some of the doodles he had made on his notebook the night before, none of them having to do with their assignment. Livy got up, grabbed the kitten, and placed him on the couch towel bed to pet him. She squinted her eyes, thinking hard. I think I have an idea for a story, she said slowly, watching as the kitten fell asleep under the warmth of her hand. What if we wrote the story of little Butterscotch here? A story of a lost kitten who finds a family. We could give it a happy ending, though. He can actually stay with the family in the end of our story, of course. Lars thought for a moment and smiled. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Except for the name. I don't like Butterscotch. But I think that could work. That'll be fun to draw the pictures, too, because we can make the kitten look just like him. Perfect, said Livy. You're good at drawing, so why don't you do that, and I can do the writing. Let's start. The sooner we finish, the sooner Mama will let us have a snowball fight outside. Lars and Livy got to work right away, writing and drawing their story together. They soon found that the only problem with their story was that they still couldn't agree on a name for their pretend kitten. They decided to save that part for last. Lars drew each scene, ending with a picture which showed a whole family sitting together on a couch, the newly adopted kitten in the middle. When they were finished, Livy sat back and sighed with delight at their completed book project. Oh, it is perfect. Our teacher will love this. I just wish, well, it's nothing. What? Said Lars curiously. Is there something wrong with it? Oh, no. I think it's perfect. I just wish that our real life story could end the same as this one, you know? How the family adopts the kitten. She looked over at their orange kitten, who had long since awoken from his nap and was now playing with a piece of string they had hung from the coffee table for him. I just feel really attached to him already. I know we don't want to take him from his family if he has someone looking for him, but he seems to fit here. Even if we can't agree on his name yet, she joked. Lars smiled, then looked upstairs after hearing the door of his mother's office open. Mrs. Karlsson came out and descended the stairs. How'd it go? Livy asked hesitantly. Did you find the kitten's family? Mrs. Karlsson scanned the sad faces of her children and laughed. You two look like you're expecting to eat broccoli for a week. But as for your question, yes, I did find who this kitten belongs to. Mrs. Karlsson walked forward, scooping up the kitten on her way to the couch, and sat down. She placed him in her lap and petted him. It took a few phone calls, but I found out through a neighbor that this little one belongs to an older gentleman across town, near the trailhead of our hiking path. Lars and Livy's shoulders slumped in disappointment. They had expected bad news like this, but it didn't make it any easier. Their little rescue kitten had an owner after all. So, continued Mrs. Karlsson, I called that gentleman and told him that we have this kitten. He was so relieved to hear that his kitten was okay. I guess this little guy belongs to a litter from one of his cats. He was very worried when this kitten went missing yesterday. He knew he couldn't make it through the snowy night by himself. So he had looked everywhere for him, but when it started snowing last night, he had to give up. He also said something very interesting. The twins looked up, noticing a shift in their mother's tone. He said that he had just started to look for families to adopt this litter of kittens. So he mentioned that if we wanted to keep this little guy, we could. The twins held their breath. They wanted to shout and scream and beg and ask, but they waited, eyes wide, for their mother to say more. Mrs. Karlsson laughed again at their forced calm. I called your father, and he agreed that we can keep him under one condition. What? The twins exclaimed at the same time, willing to agree to anything at this point. That you'll let me cuddle him as much as you guys are going to, she laughed. I'm not usually one for pets, as you know, but this little guy sure won my heart over. The twins began to jump up and down in celebration. The kitten, cozy in their mother's lap, looked up at their loud dancing curiously, but calmly. When the noise died down, Mrs. Karlsson said, I know you guys haven't had time to think of any names yet. Lars and Livy looked at each other and tried not to laugh. But I have been thinking that this little guy needs a big, strong name, because even though he's tiny, he had the strength to go on a big adventure and find us. So I was thinking of Leo for a name. It means lion, and it'll fit with your two L names. What do you think? Lars and Livy thought for a moment. Then they both nodded. It felt like the perfect name for their newest family member. Lars and Livy were so happy, they decided to sing a song. Oh, little Leo, we just wanted to let you know that you found your forever family. It's us! We didn't want you to be left out in the cold snow. We felt bad for you, we had empathy. So when we feel for others, it makes us want to act like brothers and sisters, to love like family. So now we're stuck together, we'll help you through all kinds of weather. You'll love it here because of empathy. You will love it here because of empathy. You'll love it here because of empathy. Can we go get Leo a real bed and collar and some kitty toys today? Livy asked, jumping on the couch next to her mom. Of course, said Mrs. Karlsson. I still have a little more work to do, but when I'm finished, we can head out this afternoon and grab all the essentials for him. And if I'm not mistaken, that beautiful handmade book over there makes me think that your school project is finished, right? Livy and Lars nodded excitedly and grabbed the book to show their mom. As they read it to her, they placed the name Leo in all the blank spaces they had left for it. They realized that the easiest way to name their storybook kitten was to simply match their real-life kitten's name. I love it, guys, Mrs. Karlsson said when they were finished. Now, to celebrate your hard work, why don't you guys play outside until I'm finished? It looks so beautiful out there with all the snow. Livy and Lars loved the idea. They excitedly headed upstairs to get ready. On the way, Livy said, I think instead of a snowball fight, we should make a little igloo for Leo. We can put a towel inside so he can stay warm in there. Lars thought that was a great idea. They both turned towards their bedrooms, but before closing the door behind her, Livy spun around and called out, Hey, Lars, she smiled. Can you believe our pretend story turned into our real story? So crazy, right? Lars raised his eyebrows and smiled. It is crazy. It's like we wrote our own story. I kind of like living with a happy ending. Me too. Livy looked downstairs and laughed as she noticed Leo waiting on the bottom step for them to come down and play with him. All right, let's go make this igloo. With that, the twins were off, ready to live out their happy ending. So, Momo, what did you think of our story today? Momo? Where did he go off to this time?
Oh, sorry. I was listening, I promise. I just had an idea at the end there on what I can do with my 500 boxes of dirt tea.
Oh, well, that's wonderful, Momo. I have to say I was out of ideas for this one. What are you planning?
Well, you know the moles that live down near Cypress Grove?
Yes, I pass by there every once in a while. There's a ton of moles who live there.
Well, I was remembering that the moles always have a hard time keeping warm in the winters over there. There's a lot less food for them when the snow starts, which is one reason that storing acorns is a really good idea if you ask me. I get to have all the food I want all winter long, and I just love my acorn. Oh, okay, sorry, back to the point. So the moles always tell me every winter about how hard it is to stay warm and find food, so I thought I could donate all these boxes to them. It barely costs me anything after all, and I just really want to help them have a cozier winter, since I can.
That is such a good idea, Momo. I think you have enough tea to last them all winter, too. It sounds like you are practicing empathy. Empathy means that you are able to feel the way that someone else is feeling when they share their story with you. You are having empathy for the moles when you understand how hard it is to go through winter feeling cold. And in our story today, Mrs. Karlsson, Lars, and Livy had empathy for the kitten that followed them home. They didn't want the kitten to feel cold and lonely and hungry outside, so they took him in.
And then they got a new kitty pet because of it. It was so sweet.
Indeed. All right, well, I'll help you package up your teas and carry them over to the moles, but first, it's question time. Question 1. Have you ever experienced anyone having empathy towards you? Question 2. Is there anyone in your life going through a hard time? How can you practice having empathy towards them? All right, are you ready, Momo?
Yes, I am. I'm also ready to be able to reach my refrigerator again. I was kind of wondering how I'd be eating this winter with all the boxes in my kitchen blocking everything.
Oh, Momo, the lengths you'll go for anything acorny will never cease to amaze me.
Really? Thank you.
What do you say after we deliver these boxes that we go out and I'll buy you a real cup of acorn tea?
That sounds amazing. Let's get going.
We'll see you again for our next Lamplighter Kids Stories.
Thanks for listening to Lamplighter Kids Stories today. If you liked our story, please feel free to share it with your loved ones and leave a review. It really helps other listeners find these stories. If you're interested in purchasing our Letters from Momo digital bundles or Momo's Seeds of Character book, just visit our website at lamplighterkids.com.